Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Welcome, Marvel fans, to episode 42 of Marvelcast, a Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast by fans for fans. Each week we'll discuss the latest news regarding the MCU, followed by reviews and discussion of the latest release content in the ever-expanding multiverse. I'm your host, JG, and joined with me is my fellow co-host, Steve. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I am super excited. We're back for our second annual Marvelcasties. I know it's the one we've been looking forward to, and I think as we go throughout the year, we're going to really build up some hype for our 2023 Marvelcasties coming up at the end of the year and early into next year. So I'm excited. We've got some surprise winners tonight, and you and I will get to share our own picks. So I'm really glad that we're kind of back at it with this special presentation tonight.
I couldn't have said it any better. It's always my favorite time of year. It's award season. We just had some Golden Globes. We have the BAFTAs announced today. We're going to be having the Oscar nominations next week. Award season. I just love it. I love that we can give honor and credit to all these people who put a lot of work in. I think a lot of times as us consumers, we watch a lot of these shows and movies, and we don't realize how much energy and how much time actually goes into making these. And so to give a little bit of credit for people who literally entertain us, and they tell these stories, and they also have these compelling messages also that we could take away and apply to our life. I think having things like this is super important. Any other thoughts, Steven?
No, I think it's a great way for our fans and our listeners to kind of interact with us. And I hope we can do like more of these types of polls throughout the year instead of just once at the end of the year. So I think it's something to consider as we kind of build out the show a little bit more. But yeah, let's get to it. I'm excited to kind of see who won tonight.
Definitely. And before we get started, we are just going to give a quick glimpse of how this is going to go. We're going to go ahead and go through each category leading up to the big awards of the night. We're going to go ahead and announce what the community choice was, and then we will also give each of our personal winners. What we each did, we have not shared that with each other, which is always such an exciting time to see how much on the page we are. We generally speaking, generally pretty positive when it comes to the things that have come out of the MCU. But we do have some differences, opinions in some things, so we'll see how that all shakes out. Steven, are you ready?
And now, before I get started, I have two questions for you.
Yes.
First of all, whenever I switch tabs, does my camera go off?
Nope.
It's still on. Awesome. So we'll keep that the way it is. What about whenever we are announcing the winner? Do you want me to should we also announce all the candidates or not, or just kind of go to because I know there's a lot of nominees.
You could go ahead and just do the winner, since there's a lot of nominees for some of them.
All right, sounds like a plan. So let's jump into our first award for tonight. We are looking at the best mid or post-credit scene in 2022. There were lots of options to choose from, and the winner goes to one of our most recent scenes, and that would be when Nakia introduces Shuri to Toussaint T'Challa's secret son, and his true name is T'Challa, like his father, in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. JG, this scene was one that we had discussed and hoped for. How excited were you to see this one win? And does this deserve the winner for all of our voters this year?
Oh yeah, this definitely makes a lot of sense. I know some people could say that maybe this is just some recency bias, but I do think this is such an impactful scene. It was emotional. It was perfectly played. I love how it ends. The movie ends with her like at the fire, and the scene just picks up so perfectly right there, and it just gives me chills thinking about it now. We had thought about this and speculated about seeing possibly something about this, about him having a son, and that's how they're going to continue the legacy of T'Challa, and for it to actually come to life. So much to the point where I agree that is also my pick for the best mid post-credit scene. We've had a lot of good ones this year. I think there were some. I think last year was probably easier, but this year this just really just stands out on its own, and one that I will always remember, and I can't wait to watch it again here in just a couple of weeks on my TV. What about you, Steven?
Yeah, I love this scene for the simple fact that, like, I try to think about some of the other post-credit scenes, like this was a mid-credit scene. The way that, the movie ends with Shuri sitting there and she's burning, it was the robe of T'Challa, was that what
Yep.
it was? Yeah. And like the way that the credits of the main actors and like the those of the crew that were like, the higher ups of the crew are getting their names throughout there. And it's like you're basically watching, like you said, the robes, the garment being burned. You're seeing it, like the fire right there. It's such a cool like segue. Like it's most of these, credit scenes are kind of like more graphic, you know what I mean? Like illustrated. And so like this was a really unique kind of take. Like it's almost like we don't even leave the movie in a way. It's like we're almost like following the fire with some names with it. And so that was a cool, unique twist as well. And I was so glad it led right into it. And it was a longer mid-credit scene. It was probably one of the most emotional, definitely the most emotional one we've had in a while. Plus, it was, I think, a very meaningful scene and probably one of the best of Phase 4, if I had to argue. Now, I was actually between two for my pick. So just to give another one a shout out, it was between Black Panther, Wakanda Forever one, but I'm going to give a shout out. My vote officially now will go to Jane Foster in Valhalla. While I did not love Thor: Love and Thunder, and I've only watched it once, I think that scene there, because I was so excited leading into that movie to see, Jane Mighty Thor, and I really thought there was a chance that we were going to lose Thor Odin's son, and then, Jane Mighty Thor would have kind of taken over the mantle officially, and we didn't get that, and so I was kind of surprised, and I was maybe hoping as the credits rolled that maybe we'd see her one more time, and then so I was really excited to see her and Heimdall, who, again, Heimdall has been in all 4 Thor movies now at this point. And so having that one little scene, I think it sets up some exciting possibilities. I really hope it doesn't mean, I hope it means we're not going to, I hope it means we will see Jane's Mighty Thor again, and maybe that'll be the plot of a 4th film on a way to go to Valhalla, because that's what I keep hoping for. So, yeah, I was between that scene and Black Panther, but I wanted to give another scene a shout out. So that's why I'm going to give my vote tonight to Jane Foster in Valhalla. Did you like that scene as well?
That scene is so exciting because I think, like we've discussed before, it gives us the possibility and the opportunity to explore that character if Natalie wants to. And I think that's also such a cool thing too. Kind of instead of putting the creators in a corner, and instead of putting the creator or the actress in a corner as well, it kind of leaves everything kind of open. It gives them the opportunity that if they want to tell this story, or and there is a story to tell, they can move forward with that story. If they feel that this is a satisfying conclusion to the character, we have a satisfying conclusion. And I don't think many people would probably blink an eye. I think it is satisfying. Would we want more stories? And could there be more stories? I do think so. But if this is the end, I feel it is a good end for her.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that. Like, if she chooses not to come back for whatever reason, she gets a happy ending. Now, hypothetically, let's say we go to Valhalla. I know I don't want to speculate too much tonight, but do you think, do we get back Odin? Do we get back the 616 version of Loki? That would be cool to bring multiple characters back from the dead in time for a Secret Wars. Who knows? It's speculation and it's a while off, but
yeah, I think I think she had a really good outcome with this film, and I think she enjoyed it. I think it brought some new life into the MCU for her. I think we'll see her back, and like I have said, I do think that she will be eventually taking Thor's place and raising love down the road. I do think that is where they're going.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to our next award.
Yes, and we're going to move on to the next category of Best Score. This could be from any of the shows or movies, and this year, the winning category for Best Score is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I could say that this is definitely interesting. That first it came out, was like one of the earliest projects that came out in the year, but out of everything, it does stand out the most, with the composer who did the Evil Dead music coming back to do this. Oh yeah, it was perfect horror. There are so many standouts in that film. Heck, you could even look at the freaking music battle in itself, where they're literally fighting with musical notes. Like, to me, this makes a lot of sense. Steven, what do you think about the community choosing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Was it your choice?
It was not my choice. I used a unique choice on this one, which I'll explain in a little bit, but I really liked this one. I think you reminding me of the battle of the literal music. Probably could have helped me win this one if I didn't already have another one picked. So yeah, I think definitely that's a cool idea there. I really liked this soundtrack. Like the way that they used music and then the way they used silence was also really powerful for some of those jump scare moments. And so I think that yeah, it deserves the win there. I'm glad to see though too that I think more so than last year we're starting to see here that not all of the movies are the recency factor. We're seeing Doctor Strange was the first one of the first movies of the year, and so it's really the fact that people are still remembering that score is pretty awesome. Now I'll share mine. Now you're probably going to give me some hate for it, but I'm going to cheat a little bit when I talk about score. I think all types of music. And so I've got to actually give my score slash music award to Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
You're on
Um,
there.
the old 97s, like I knew that I've very rarely heard of them as a band. I really thought, on my first and second and third watch of the holiday special around Christmas time, that their opening number was an original number for this. And my friend who watched it with me one time, he had informed me that this was actually a song that they had put out before, and I did not know that. The rain, 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 like it's such a catchy, Christmas it's gonna listen to all the time, and just bringing Kevin Bacon in to sing at the end too, like I kind of cheated on this one, and I hope you can forgive me, but I've got to give it to the holiday special because it gets me so hyped for Guardians 3 and the music that we're about to hear in a few months.
I think that is all fair in the realm of the rules. We don't have rules; we just go for it.
Oh.
So that's a great choice. I
What about you? What'd you pick?
I had a hard time this time around. Okay, so last year Loki was a clear front runner. I still love that score so much. Especially, yeah, I could go on about Loki. This year was a little harder. I really didn't have one that really stood out the rest. I think there's two that really stuck with me. That was Moon Knight and also Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I think Moon Knight did a really interesting job, really standing out on its own apart from the MCU. But I do have to give it to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think that score just elevates that film. I think that film is already so good on its own just because of the horror and just the Sam Raimi-ness of it. That's the word of the day, Sam Raimi-ness. I think the score it is so deliciously horror, and it's campy and it's dramatic, it's over the top. Those sharp notes are sharper than you would ever expect it. The quiet moments are more silent than you can expect. It's a very dramatic score, and it really worked well for me. It really stood with me for most of the year. Um, there were a lot of unique projects this year, a lot of stories that were told with very unique soundtracks. But when I look back, I think most about these two, and specifically Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I that reminded me of something too. Do you ever see like on YouTube it pops up like the listen and recognize what score it is, those kind
Hmm.
of games that pop up?
Yeah.
I was bored the other day and I was playing one and my wife was in the room too, and there was it gives you 10 seconds of a sample, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I know this. I paused it even, I rewound it. I'm like, I give up. I don't know what it is. It was WandaVision. I could not put my head
Oh
with
my
it.
goodness.
But I redeemed myself about 5 minutes later for Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I think I voted for last year. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the WandaVision theme just couldn't pull it out. But yeah, I think it was a great year for music, and I think this year is also going to be a great year for music too.
Agree.
All right, our next category is our best ship and duo. We had so many, and I think I got to give you JG a lot of props for this ballot because you kept adding and adding and adding the pictures and the options there. So we had a bunch, and the winner of our fan vote goes to Doctor Strange from 616 and America Chavez in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Another win for Doctor Strange. JG, when you think back to this scene here, this duo here, and like you've got the old wizard, you've got the young teenager. Did they win for you? And do you also think that the fans picked a good winner here?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting because again, it's another example of an earlier project in the year winning this, and I think it makes sense for me because I think out of all the duos, and there's a lot of duos this year, Kamala Khan has like six of them. Um, this makes the most sense because they basically go on a journey from start to finish. I think it's probably within the first 15-20 minutes, give or take, whenever they get introduced in that New York? I think it's New York. New York scene. When they're fighting the eyeball, which happens to be the eyeball of Wanda, which is a fun little Easter egg there if you didn't know. But I just think that the journey that they go on from start to finish, it is a super complete story, super complete tale. They both go on individual and Yeah, they changed so much as a result of each other, and it makes so much sense. It's also, again, I agree with the community. This was my choice as well. I think these two, it really stood out when I looked at all the duos. There were some powerful duos this year. There was some amazing chemistry, but just a compelling story. Like for me last year, I went with the option of Sean and Katie last year because I just thought that those two had quite an epic journey, and I think it kind of mirrors with this too. What did you think about them winning, and then what is yours?
Yeah, I think, what was it, maybe 3 or 4 months before Multiverse Madness, we saw Strange being a mentor to Peter.
Mm,
Now, I think I really like this idea. Like, I think back to how, when you watch the first Doctor Strange movie, he's so about himself, and how much this character has grown. And I mean, he is very much a figurehead of the multiverse saga.
hmm
And I can't wait to see him and America again together because, think about it. In that opening, cold open that just jumps right into that movie, she is basically working with an alternate version, a variant of Strange who
Yeah.
tries to kill her, to save the multiverse. And so as soon as she sees the 616 version, who has no idea who she is, she's has a right to be feared, to be afraid of him.
Yeah.
And so the way that their dynamic grows, and at one point, I remember about halfway through the movie, she like does get afraid of him because he starts questioning, what he should do. And the fact that like Zombie Strange then has to be the one to save her, and like the way that they're just a 2.5 hour movie, however long it was, less than 2.5 hours, their whole character arc, it's really powerful. They did not win for me, but that's okay. I really think that they are a very great option for everyone else. I've got to give my vote to a very unique. I think last year, did I give it to Loki and Sylvie? Maybe.
I think you give it to Loki and Sylvie. Yeah.
Well, I'm going with a kind of a similar idea here. Those two were the same Lokis. I'm going actually with Steven
Mm,
and Mark because for
wow.
Moon Knight, I actually, when I looked at the list again and I was kind of reviewing it, there were so many to pick from, and I really wanted Strange in America, but I had to go with this one for the simple reason that the emotional impact I felt, for the first maybe, I think it was like 4 of 5 episodes, they were two different personalities, and I have to give Marvel credit for like the way that they handled multiple personality disorders, by showing this show was really powerful in my opinion. But the fact that like they did not interact with each other until it was that episode that they were in the white like dreamlike
Yeah.
psychiatrist area, and when they finally find each other and embrace, and then it ends with them trying to find a way out, and they see Torrit, like I just loved like just I think when I looked at the list, just thinking about that scene where they find each other, and again, they are two completely different personalities of the same body that
Yep.
find each other in this complex world wherever they were at that point. It was a scene that stuck with me, and it will. And I was so afraid. I think at one point in the show, whenever I think it was Steven disappears for a little bit, right, and we're with
hmm
Mark for a while, and I was so afraid we weren't going to get Steven back, and
Yeah.
that the fact that they did. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna give them my vote this year. Do you like the two of them together?
Totally. I actually was just watching that episode with my dad the other day. He's going through the MCU. That's where we are right now. Is Moon Knight. So that episode's literally fresh in my head. I can definitely see that it is super powerful and crazy. And even just if we want to take a step back from the character and look at the acting, like oh my gosh, like that I'm surprised that he's not getting more accolades for that because Oscar Isaac just killed it. Just killed it. And you know what? You know what's really great and special is that we're not done. This character has so much more in the future. And not only that, we have a third personality. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's only gonna get more weirder and crazier. And I cannot wait. And even besides maybe the weird aspect, I think it's also gonna get more interesting and we're gonna have more retrospective and be able to have more conversations about this disorder and be able to really be able to tell stories that everyone can watch and see themselves and that everyone can relate and that like we all have struggles, we all have things that we all battle through in life, and yes, as much as we don't want to give glory to that, we also want to be able to see that depicted as well. And so being able to see that depicted was, I think, super powerful, Stephen.
Yeah, 100%. I think the way that throughout the first couple episodes it would just switch between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight, Steven and Mark, like
Hmm.
and the fact that neither of them knew what was happening, and like their whole life was being changed because of it until they start to realize, and like the trauma that came that led to that, like it is such a powerful episode that I think could be more people need to watch this series to really, I think, have a better understanding. I think they did a great job.
I agree. Up next, you did surprise me a little. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll talk about that probably pretty soon here. But up next we have best non-powered character, and there was quite a few good non-powered characters this year. I wouldn't say as many as last year. Last year we had a ton. This year the list was definitely a little bit shorter, and the community surprised me a little bit, but I am very happy that the winner of Best Non-Powered Character is Madison with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not
But
where
no,
you
where you
think.
think?
In
Why did it
She-Hulk Attorney at
surprise
Law.
you? Why did it surprise you that she won?
It's hard for me to believe. I'm glad our viewers can appreciate her. It's just so hard for me to see the internet in general accept her, because it is a character that it should not work. It should not work. It is on paper. Like if I'm reading this on paper, it's stupid. It is so stupid. But the actress sells it, and she sells it so damn good. And yeah, what did you think, Steven? Is she yours? I hope.
She is mine as well. She's someone that just stole the scene, and she was in 3 or 4 scenes in that episode. Like, I almost gave her and Wongers the
That's what I was
best ship.
thinking.
They were up there for me too.
Mhm.
I saved her for this one instead. I didn't want her to win 2 tonight. Sorry, but I really did. I loved her. I thought she stole every scene she was in. I want to see her again. I think she was a huge hit. The fact that, like, I showed her scenes to multiple people that hadn't been watching She-Hulk, and no matter who I showed it to, got a smile, got a laugh out of it. Like,
Good.
that's great. Like, even if you're not a big Marvel fan, you can still appreciate what this actress brought to this role, and just so much fun. Like, so much, oh, I can't wait to see her again. Did she win for you? I can't remember if you said that already or not.
I didn't, but yeah, she won. There's no question. Like, I smile and I get giddy every time that I know that I'm gonna watch this scene with someone. I have a few people that I have to watch it still with, that they haven't watched it yet, and I'm looking so forward to this episode to show them that. I mean, not only that, but it's also, isn't it? No, it's the prior episode. The prior episode has Megan Thee Stallion, because she's episode 4. Megan is episode 3. But I don't know. I love her. She works, and her and Wong just play off each other so well. I could watch a rom-com TV series about these two. If we are getting this whole Academy series with Wong and such, oh, she better show up in cameos. If I am not seeing her every episode, then Marvel, you're doing something wrong, because I don't need to see her all the time. I don't need to see her for a whole show even, maybe. But just I still need to see her. I still need that, just the energy. Marvel needs that.
Yeah. Oh, she was just so much fun, and you're right. Like, we need to hear an announcement soon. I want to just see her up on the big screen, up on the small screen, no matter where. She deserves to be a key player in the MCU as an original character, because she stole everything, and I just want to spend as much time with her as I can, Madison.
Can you just imagine real quick? We're watching Doctor Strange 3, it's gonna be right before Secret Wars and everything. Clea and Strange have done all of their adventures. They're going back now to the Academy, and like Wong is out on a mission doing something. Maybe he's working with like the new Avengers or the Thunderbolts or something, and he goes there, and it's Madison binging something on his couch or something. And just imagine that. Like, that is what, on the big screen and interacting with Strange, like.
Yeah. Oh, it would steal this, from a serious moment to her, it would just steal the scene, and I just really love that idea for sure.
What's up next, Steven?
Next up, we have our best moments. This is a big one. This is out of every moment, and we had how many episodes and movies and you name it.
So many.
We had a lot of moments that you could have picked from that had emotional impact on us. Our fans voted for, and their final pick that they voted in was for the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but specifically the introduction of Toussaint at the end of the film that we already talked about earlier. JG, we've already talked about the scene. Do you think it deserves the title of best moment of the year, and what did you vote for?
Yeah, so first I'll just say it shows how impactful the scene is, that not only does it win best post-credit, mid-credit scene, but it's also the moment where everyone can write in whatever they want to write in. And you're seeing like a lot of like just seeing Black Panther in theaters, and then people were mentioning this scene specifically. So I think it makes so much sense. Like it just because everyone was wondering like what is going to happen next for this character and the Black Panther franchise, as a smaller entity, like what is going to be the future. And I think it we've talked about it, but it is beautiful, and I think it does stand out for a lot of people that even above a post-credit scene, it is a moment, and it is one that people will take with them. It is one that definitely lasted for me. I personally had one moment that rose above everything. It was probably my biggest WTF. It was the one where I lost my mind. I watched video after video. I rewatched it over and over. I think I messaged you frantically losing my mind. And that is whenever it was revealed that Kamala Khan was a mutant in the X-Men theme song played in the background. That moment was the moment that just completely, for me, it changed the MCU. I think we even had a podcast episode called "The MCU's Changed Forever" because it is. We have mutants in the MCU. This was before Namor was revealed to be a mutant. We knew X-Men were coming. We didn't realize that we had mutants before our eyes. And I think it is such a huge shock and twist because Miss Marvel was a show that surprised you and I and surprised many people. But we weren't expecting something like this. We were expecting for her to grow into Miss Marvel and that to prepare her for what is to come in the Marvels, to be able to stand out and be a young Avenger, in which she will become one day. But for us to now find out that she is a mutant, it just opens so many freaking doors, so many freaking possibilities. It has me so excited for the MCU, so excited for the X-Men story, the mutant stories, and for her story. And I will never be able to stop talking about it, so I'm going to force myself to stop. Steven, what is your thoughts about the post-credit scene winning from our community? And was it yours, or did you have something else?
I had something else, which I'll share in a minute, but I do first want to say I think the community picked a very powerful scene, as I already mentioned. I think it's probably the most emotional, resonating scene that we did receive last year. I think it was probably the most powerful post credit scene we've gotten in a very long time. So I think they picked a good one. Back to yours, I really loved that scene. I was so excited, like as soon as that music hit. Did you watch it before me, or did I watch it before you? I can't remember.
I watched it before you, and I was like screaming, like stop everything.
Yeah. I didn't want to get spoiled. Yeah, so that was incredible. Like I had to keep rewinding to hear that music again. Oh, that was so much fun. Like it's opening so many opportunities. Like we're gonna. I can't wait to see where she shows. I mean, I know where she shows up next, but I can't wait to see the X-Men and more come our way in the future. Maybe she could be like a leader for that at some point. I have to give mine. I'm between two. I'm still trying to decide how meta I want to get with this because my best Marvel moment of the year, which I don't think counts, but I'm still saying it is, was when we got at SDCC the roadmap. Like I know it wasn't filmed for Marvel, but I got to give that as like my out of all of the year's moments. When was I at my most hype? It was them. But the one that I will give based on MCU content is also another meta moment when She-Hulk breaks Disney Plus. I had never expected. I mean, I know she breaks the fourth wall in the comics, but the way that they handled it, the way that it was so unique, the way that she goes and meets Kevin, and it's so breaking the fourth wall, and like it makes you question the reality of everything in the MCU now. The way that that whole final episode, how she is seeing everything play out like a third act of a movie, that she's like, this is all wrong. When she comes through the Marvel section of Disney Plus, like that is something that will stick with me as a moment that was so creative, so unique, something you'll never see like that on Disney Plus unless we see more of Deadpool. But I'm like, I gotta give that credit because you and I and like people that follow Marvel loved that finale, especially that second half. And then I have many people. I think this was probably the most divisive scene of the year or episode. Many people who do not know who Kevin Feige is, do not follow this religiously like you and I do.
Yeah.
Thought it was a really weird, bad episode. So I've never seen something that divisive that I love so much. I mean, this is probably like Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
or Marvel. But Did I pick a good, two moments there? One in reality and one in MCU?
Oh, definitely. And like I said, there's no rules. So first, I will say that moment. Talking about this upcoming slate, we talked about it last week. We both were like messaged each other furiously. We both were on vacation. Um, Very memorable, and we will have many more of those to come. Hopefully, one this year with the rest of 5 and 6, please, Kevin, please. But then specifically about She-Hulk, that moment is up there for me too, very up there. Because it's one thing to know that the comic doesn't. It's one thing to speculate that they could do it. But for them to do it and know that there are viewers who are going to be like, what is happening? Who don't know about the comics, who don't even, even probably doesn't even know if there is a She-Hulk comic. It's bold. It's very bold, and it's going to be divisive, and that's okay. When you I think long gone are the days of accepting the fact that you're making something that everyone's gonna love. Like that is near damn impossible, especially with the fact that we have the internet where anyone could get behind a screen, behind a keyboard, and anonymously type whatever they want on the internet, even if they don't even agree with whatever they're saying. So I think for them to just go for it, I think is really huge for the MCU. I think it shows that they're willing to take risks, and they're really not afraid to poke fun at themselves. They severely did that. And so, yeah, I think it's a great moment. It's probably my second favorite up there. It's really up there for me.
Awesome. Awesome. What's our next award?
Yes, so we're moving into some of the bigger awards. We are looking at the most anticipated TV series or special of 2022. And we do got quite a busy year for 2022. A couple things moving around, shifting around a little bit. We did leave it on for the ballot because we just don't have anything official per se yet. So, but for this year, the most anticipated show special of 2022 is Loki Season 2. Wow. This is, I think, a very interesting win. Steven, what are your thoughts about it? And did you agree with the community?
You know what? I actually did for this one. I'm very excited for. The problem is for TV shows, I had a hard time with this one because there are some shows that we thought were for 2023 that have probably been pushed now. We're also like we've seen so little of Secret Invasion. We have like a 2-minute trailer. I'm very excited for that one because it's considered the first crossover event. I have a feeling it could potentially be the best of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If it is like feels more maybe cinematic. It looks very much in the line of like Winter Soldier and in filming and style. So I think it has the potential to be the best one of the year when we finish out this year. But I think I have to say I'm probably most excited at this point for Loki season 2, with the simple fact that Loki was such an amazing first season, and the fact that this is the only show so far that officially has a second season that's in production and coming out. And just I think where we left off with season 1 and knowing what we're about to get with Quantumania, I'm so excited to see what role Kang plays in this. Hopefully we see a couple variants. I can't wait to see if this is the final season of Loki or if it continues to set up more adventures with Loki. I know we've talked about that before too. So I am also going to agree with the fans on this one. Did you vote for Loki, or are you excited for something else this year?
Yes, and when I said 2022, I meant 2023. A little timey-wimey here on the timeline. I was back and forth between two. I really do love the idea and concept of Secret Invasion. I think that show is a lot bigger than we expect. I think there are going to be more characters in there that we expect. It's going to, I think, launch several movies and projects, and I think it is going to be an event like they are saying that it is. But I do have to give my personal most anticipated to Loki season 2. I absolutely adored this first season. It made me love a character that I could care completely less about. I want to know what is up with Sylvie. I love Sylvie so much. Loki is in an interesting spot. We're in a cliffhanger, and I think seeing what will happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to also tie into Loki season 2, I would say personally. And so I'm so excited. And also like the music, I cannot wait to obsess over the soundtrack again. I hope they have the same composer coming back, because I need more of that same music, same with that more mischief and all the timey-wiminess of it all.
Yeah, I think it has so much potential. I think, seeing where we left off with Sylvie, like you said, seeing Mobius hopefully getting to ride his jet ski, like there's so much potential here. TVA, I mean, like, now that the entire, He Who Remains is now dead, so like that's what caused the split in the multiverse to really begin. That's, on our timeline that we do for our show, that's where we add What If, that's where we add the Spider-Man films. So like everything's hell's broken loose. So how do we control that? What does the TVA look like? Now instead of having the timekeepers, you have Kang, it looks like. So I'm very excited to see, like, is he going to be like a dictator? Is this going to tie in more with Quantumania than we think? Or is it a different variant? I don't know. I mean, I'm very excited to see the potential here. And I think maybe after Quantumania, we'll maybe start to see some more marketing, because I'm thinking if Secret Invasion's probably in the spring, and then I'm going to say, they said for summer, so I don't know, maybe June, July, we'll see this, I'm hoping.
Yeah, it probably that would make sense because of the fact of we do have the Marvels in July still, so probably around that
I'm
June
hoping,
window.
fingers crossed for June release, because I'm heading to Avengers Campus at the end of June, and I would love to see, something like how they always pop up with the characters right after they appear. I would love to see some of the Loki characters walking around. That would be pretty cool.
Definitely.
All right, so that's, I guess then our next one, since we just did most anticipated show, is most anticipated movie. And we have a variety of movies coming out this year, both animated and live action. And we have to give this one for the fans. The winner is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. AG, we've recently received a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Do you think, out of all the movies that's coming out this year, is this the right choice? And are you hyped for it? And did you pick it?
Yeah, so I do think this makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of stakes for this one, the music, visuals, everything. It's super powerful trailer. We've gone on the journey with these characters for many years, many films outside of their, core films. So there's a lot of stakes that are put into this movie, and people know that we're going to be saying goodbye to a majority of them. And so where one chapter ends, a new one will begin. But I think a lot of people are looking forward to see how this one does close. For me, there's a lot of good ones to pick for this year. I think Craven the Hunter is such an exciting. Nah, it's not Craven. Craven's spicy, but it's Craven spicy for a whole different reason. I went with. And fortunately for me, I'm not going to have to wait long. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which says a lot because people know that I'm not a big Ant-Man fan. Specifically the movie. The character's fine. The movies I'm kind of mad about. But this movie does not feel like an Ant-Man movie, and that's what they keep saying. They keep telling me that this is a Civil War movie. This is a Winter Soldier movie. And I'm feeling that, and I am feeling very excited. I think finally we are going to get answers. We are going to get connectivity. Everyone and their mom who keeps saying that the MCU is a mess right now and that things are not connecting, watch this movie. It's all going to connect. It's going to Eternals. It's going to connect to Shang-Chi. It's going to connect to Miss Marvel. I don't know how because I haven't seen the movie, but based off of what we have seen in the trailer, there's enough footage in there for me to say that all that is true. I just cannot wait to really just get to explore also the quantum realm more. It looks so cool in sci-fi. It gives me similar vibes when I first saw Guardians. The music was great, so I hope some of that translates outside of the trailer into the film as well. And Kang! We're seeing Kang! Like, this, as the trailer says, this is the start of a new dynasty, and I cannot wait. We are going to see this character for many movies before his big final battle and whatever his plan is. And you know what? I'm so excited, and literally it's less than a month away, and I already got my tickets. They went on sale this week. Steven, what are your thoughts on the community's choice, my choice? Do you agree? Did you get your tickets as well for Ant-Man? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this year is so unique in the fact that we are receiving, within a few months of each other, two ends of trilogies. Like, these are usually the films that kind of like, are big like capstone movies. And, I think back to like Iron Man 3, and that was, the first one after Avengers. It was huge. You knew we were going to see Iron Man again. I think back to Thor 3 and Captain America 3, which was, again, like an Avengers movie in itself. Yeah, both of them were, if you think about it, with Hulk and everything. So these, final acts, like, I'm definitely getting like final act vibes for Guardians because that's the way it's designed to be. And I think I probably would have voted for Guardians with the fans had I voted a couple weeks ago right before the new Ant-Man trailer came out. So Ant-Man, like you, JG, has my vote tonight. I am so excited for it. It looks incredible. Like you said, it is going to be the perfect kickstart. It's it's almost giving me the vibes of how much I love Ragnarok being so different than the first two Thors. I feel like this. I like the first two Ant-Man movies, but I think I'm going to love this movie. I'm very hopeful. I don't feel like it's the end of a story. I think it's going to feel like more like we did get a fourth Thor movie. I think we could potentially get a fourth Ant-Man movie. I think there will be death in this movie. I don't think it's going to be Scott. I think that's a misleading moment on the trailer. I think Scott and Hope are safe, I think. So I definitely think their story will continue in some form. Hopefully, again, being key players in Avengers more so than they were in the. I mean, no, Scott was a huge part of Endgame. Never mind. But I hope going forward that we see them continue to play a role in the Avengers. I think this whole movie, the kickstart. We think back to the movies that kickstarted a phase. We had Iron Man 3 kickstarted phase 2. We had Civil War kickstarting phase 3. We're not going to mention what kickstarted phase 4 because that was all COVID stuff. But now kickstarting phase 5 with this is huge. Like this is the Empire Strikes Back of the multiverse saga that we're starting right now. You know what I mean? This is huge. And to start it with an Ant-Man movie, like Ant-Man that people laughed about, back when it first came out, is now going to be such a global, movie here in just in about a month from now. And so what we're seeing is seeing Kang. I mean, this movie is essential viewing. We're getting so much more time with our saga villain than we ever did with Thanos. Like between this and Loki, this year is going to be Kang's year. This is Jonathan Major's year. I'm so excited they cast him. I'm so like he seems like he's game to play this character as much as he can because I hate to say it, after we get past Secret Wars, would we have a variant still out there? Sure, but I think he's going to eat up as much screen time as he can in the next couple of years because I think once we get past the multiverse saga, I think we'll be moving on to other bigger, badder villains. Maybe they're saving, Doom and stuff for later on. But I think we should enjoy him while we have him. We have a lot of Kang this year, so I'm also going to give my vote to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Great stuff. We're now moving into the final 5 awards. These are the individual awards, so quite a few here to go. I'm pretty excited. Moving into the best new hero, which is always exciting right now, especially when we're starting a whole new saga. It's going to have plenty to choose from, and this year was no other. We had a ton this year. And the best new hero chosen by the community is Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and Shuri, Black Panther, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Yes, we did have a tie. I think that this is really interesting to see a character that was introduced in a show and a character that was introduced in a movie. Steven, what is your takeaways from this, and what was your best new hero?
Yeah, I like the way that we could have put Shuri technically in best hero, but I like that we put her in best new hero because does she rise to the challenge of filling this role? Absolutely. Yeah. It was incredible. She had such big shoes to fill. Like, I think Letitia Wright was eventually going to take over the role, like, in 10 years or so from now. So the fact that she had to jump into that role in those shoes that were so big, and while no one can ever fill Chadwick Boseman's shoes, she's pretty darn close. Like, Shuri's Black Panther is incredible, and, like, it wasn't supposed to happen yet, but she made it happen. Great job. Same thing with Daredevil. I know you're working through the Defender saga.
Yes.
I loved seeing Charlie Cox in Spider-Man. I love seeing him here. I wish both of them would have been a little bit more of a surprise to us, but yeah. I'll take what I can get. I loved that his costume matched, even though I don't like the color scheme, it matched the original comic, and we'll get the red, don't worry, but I thought that was great. I love seeing him back. I didn't vote for either of them. I voted with Miss Marvel because, again, a character I love, a character that, as a new hero, is all of us, who's an excited fan, who could geek out for 8 episodes, who we got to watch her character develop from the beginning to the end of the show and seeing her in her full glory. Seeing each episode, she got a different part of her costume. I love that idea. Kind of that's something unique I hadn't seen really before. I have to give my vote to her because she is just, her personality, her character is someone that I would really want to represent. I mean, this is probably, I hate to say, is it the first, one of the first Muslim superheroes? Like, this is someone that so many people around the world can look up to. I think it's such a great, adding to the diversity of the MCU, and she's such a cool character. So she received my vote. What do you think about the fans, my vote, and where'd you vote, JG?
Yeah, so I think it's not a surprise that Matt and also Sherry rose to the top here. I think they both fill different needs and roles, and I think kind of bouncing off what you said, I think this is she very much qualifies as a new hero because yes, she was a character that we have seen and explored before, but she was now taking up a new mantle, and so this was a new journey for her and a new era, and I'm so excited to see where that goes. I'm glad we have Matt Murdock officially in the MCU. I'm on season 2 of Daredevil right now, working through that, and it's really good. Really love Daredevil as a character, and I just cannot wait to get more of him. And Miss Marvel, oh my goodness, she captured my heart. The show, everything about it was just so incredible. For all the reasons that you said, and I think it's just such a surprise, and she's so relatable, and just everything about it. Um, but there was an upset for me this year, and it was
Hmm.
not Miss Marvel, which I think might shock Steven actually.
Mm-hmm.
It was not. It was not. I think there's a character that rose above her and rose above the other two as well, and really surprised me. And I think I'm the most excited to see where this character is going to go next, the adventures that will happen, because I think of how pivotal and how important this character is going to be and how they are going to be a leader moving forward. And that character is none other than Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk.
Nice.
I absolutely love her. I
Hmm.
think she had the comedy, she had the normal person. She's going to do her 9 to 5, but she's also a hero. It was also just I love that character, and I know that she is going to be an Avenger, like when we get to the Captain America movie. She's going to be part of that team, and she's going to be something super important, and I'm so excited because I think just like Miss Marvel, I think people could see themselves in her as well, especially people like your and I age, trying to navigate young mid adulthood and all
Hmm.
that, and just yeah, I think I had so much fun with her, and I want to see her break the fourth wall more, and I want to see her with Deadpool. That's the thing is that there's so many characters that I want to see interact with She-Hulk.
Hmm.
That's what gets me so excited, and why she really just stood above the others for me right now, is that there is just so much curiosity and just so much excitement, and I think that she had a really hard job. Um, they went on the show and they tackled toxic internet culture, knowing that they were going to have toxic internet culture against them. So I give this character and this actress a whole lot of credit, and I cannot wait to see what's next for them.
Perfect choice. I really think she also deserves it. Like I love the fact that between the fans and between you and me, we had four amazing characters here.
Yeah.
With Jennifer Walters, like you said, while I can relate to Kamala Khan for the geeky like superhero love, I think out of all the characters I can relate to most in my life right now, it would probably be Jennifer Walters. She's at that mid early to mid 30s, I would say, probably like again close to you and I, and she's like a character who like is going through some of the same struggles of like trying to find love. She's trying to find like making a career in her personal life, all juggle it, plus being a superhero. Like you and I aren't superheroes, but we can juggle most of the rest of it. So she's just such a cool
Barely.
character. She is so sweet. Like
Mm,
I loved both She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters. I know they're one and the same, but the time we got to spend with both of them, Jennifer Walters herself is just such an adorable character, and it still really bothers me that any man would you know stand her up and then not follow through and like lead her on, because how do you not fall in love instantly with someone as dorky and cute as Jennifer Walters? And I can't wait to see her again. Like you said, I hope she kind of eventually like we've only seen her like origin story. I want to see her.
yeah.
I want to see her kind of like step up like Bruce and take on a role in the Avengers while also juggling her what she really cares about is the law. I think that'd be really cool to see like someone that's called to action still be able to juggle everything. And I really want to see her struggle with that. But I really want to see her again. And so great pick, JG. Nice job. All right, our next one, we've got our best villain. So now after talking about heroes, our new hero, let's move on to our best villain. And just like Daredevil, our fans have picked, and Shuri, our fans have picked a returning character to be the best villain, and it really doesn't come as much a surprise to me. But we have Wanda Maximoff as Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. JG, what do you think about the fans, and did she win your vote as well?
It makes a lot of sense. I think she has probably one of the most, in your face kind of like, oh, that's a villain. Like she kills a ton of people. She is just all hell is breaking loose. Like it is violent. It is gory. It is, yeah, it is a statement. And she is a villain. She wants something that is understandable, but at the same point, it's like you got to go about it the right way, Wanda, and she does not go about it the right way. And I think Wanda is such a likable character that even though she's a villain and even though she's doing the wrong thing and killing people and killing characters, guest characters that people love, I think there are quite a few people that were cheering her on, this year. And I think that's why I think she was a very rootable villain. And not many villains are rootable, but I think she is. I think there's more story to come from her. I think in future years, I think we'll see her again, but nominated for Best Hero. We've seen the fall of her, and I think we're going to see a very slow rise back to who she was before all of this pain and heartache. This was one that I very much was so close to picking. But again, and what I would personally consider another upset for me, I went with Namor. I think Namor's impact in the film Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think it's super outstanding what he does in the film, what he represents, his story, and also the future of that character. I don't think he's going to be a good guy anytime soon. He still wants what he wants, and he's going about it in different ways. But he is still a looming threat, and I'm very excited to see where they take this character and how they continue to explore him. Kind of in a similar position as kind of like Loki, where we got to see him, and I do think maybe not quite the level of Thanos or even Kang, but it's still a very sizable threat that's going to cause a lot of problems down the road. But I also think he's just a really good villain that like you get why, and you're like okay, and yeah, I cannot wait to see where Namor continues. What are your thoughts?
I like how you explain that. Like you can see why with both of these characters actually,
Yeah,
because I think with Scarlet Witch and with Namor, they're both characters that you understand their reasonings. They're doing terrible things at some points, but they are also doing them for reasons that can be justified. Um, so I definitely think they're both great options. I actually voted with the fans on this one with Scarlet
hmm.
Witch. In my head, I kind of see her very much as like an Anakin Vader character,
Yeah,
where we've spent so much time like in the prequels with Anakin, and you saw what led to Anakin's downfall, and you could again relate with it after everything he was through. And so same thing with her. Like we've been watching her since she was like really a teenager. Like she was kind of technically supposed to be around I think Miss Marvel's age, right? When we first meet her, she's young, like 16, 17, I think she's supposed to be in that range, maybe. Like remember Cap says she's a kid. So
yeah,
we've really watched Wanda grow up and she's lost a lot. Seeing WandaVision, how she's lost her love, her children, like she's an adult now and she's really
yeah.
gone through so much change. And so the fact that we kind of already got her origin story as a hero and a villain in WandaVision and her other movies, we could jump right in. Like besides the first scene where she's doing the lie about, where's America? She
Hmm.
I mean, there were scary moments. I mean, like you said, this isn't the end of her story. Just like Vader was redeemed, spoiler alert from 40 years ago, we are going to see Wanda again, I think, be redeemed and rejoin the heroes. I think it's going to be whenever all is said and done, watching her character arc, rise and fall and then rise again. I think it's going to be a great moment. I think, it was heartbreaking to see, how her kids from a different universe, were scared of her and how, she realized what's the point at the end. Like, she was a scary villain. Like, there were lots of jump scares with her that, the fact that she, um, you know, killed Charles Xavier. That was huge. A variant of Charles Xavier. That was
Yeah,
huge. The fact that she took down the Illuminati, like that scene right there,
yeah.
deserves recognition for her as best villain because she wiped out characters that we were so excited to see. And you're like, oh shit, sorry, this is huge. This is the Scarlet Witch. Like we've known Wanda, but now we are spending time with the
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch. So she got my vote, and I think we'll see Wanda as a hero again at some point.
I agree. Speaking of hero, we are on to the best hero of the of the year. This is a hero as someone who's already has had the role. We didn't have many, so very small competition here. The best hero goes to, and once again, another award for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as Dr. Stephen Strange takes home the win. Stephen, this is now the 4th win for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange takes home Best Hero of the Year. What are your thoughts on that, and was he your best hero?
He was my hero. Yes, I will vote for him. He was a character I was really excited to see again. I think, after we saw him in What If the year beforehand and in Spider-Man No Way Home, I was excited to see his story continue on. I really liked, just dipping our toes into the multiverse. I think going into it, you and I and many fans had expected this to be like more than it was, like Secret Wars almost.
Secret
and
Wars.
We can't get there before we get to. We just got to dip our toes in it right now, and then we've got years to kind of build up to that. And I'm glad that we have time. But him as a hero, going through different dimensions, going through different multiverses, being our guide through the multiverse, he did a great job. Seeing him take on variants of himself, which is, I can only imagine, a very hard thing to do. I couldn't imagine like someone you're fighting someone who thinks like you, who looks like you, like that would be psychologically damaging, I think, right? So like seeing him go through this, yeah, I mean, I remember when the movie came out, Kevin Feige said he's going to be kind of like the leader, kind of like the Tony Stark of this saga. And I kind of questioned that at first because I'm like, when are we going to see him again? But now the rumors are that we are going to definitely get a third movie before Secret Wars, maybe
Yes.
before Kang Dynasty. I don't know. At some point, we're going to get a third one before this saga ends. And I think we need that because there's so much lore that needs to be explained with incursions, with him and Clea. I mean, we finally got some closure with him and Almer. Yep. So we can now
Yep.
move on to him and
Christine,
Clea
yeah.
as the, yeah. So that's why I voted for him. Did he win for you or not?
And don't forget, he has to meet Madison, like the most important thing.
Mhm.
I also voted for him, so that is the third time tonight that we
Yeah.
are all in a line. It just
Mhm.
makes the most sense. Out of looking at the other reoccurring heroes, no offense or anything to any of them, everyone has such an important role, but just Stephen Strange has had such an impactful movie and just the character and the journey that he goes on himself. It is quite a ride, and I think the future is so darkly bright for him. I think he has quite a rough road ahead, but I am very excited to see, curious to see where that goes. I do think that he could be potentially a major fatality in the final films with Kang and everything. But we do have another film for him, and I am excited to see where that goes. I think his movie, it just stands with me. I love that movie so much, and I love his role, and I love everything that it stands for, and how he changes and such, and I think it balances and pairs so well with the What If episode, that I feel like those two should be watched together every time. And yeah, I love this character, and it is so exciting to see where he's going to be. And he was a huge part when it came to Thanos, and I think he'll continue to be a huge part for Kang. I do fear that he could be a very early casualty, because I think Kang is very smart and not as cocky and arrogant as Thanos was, and so we will have to
I
see.
I'm gonna bet against that just with the fact that
Ooh,
like by the time we get to the next saga, mutant saga, whatever, I don't know what it's gonna be called.
mm-hmm.
Um, we won't have we'll have a handful, a very small handful of characters that have spanned across 3 sagas.
Okay,
Ant-Man, Hope. I mean, I don't know who is all gonna survive. I'm hoping that Stephen Strange is one who, even if the third movie is his last, which it might be, it might not be his last solo movie, I would like to hope that maybe he could take on a role as like starting in 616 Illuminati or
mm,
whatever this new universe, whatever it's going to look like with the multiverse. And that way he could almost be someone that could cameo here and there, like a Nick Fury type role. I think it'd
okay,
be really cool to see like Benedict Cumberbatch for years to come still keep playing this character because like the Sorcerer Supreme and he can keep growing older and older and still kind of get wiser and wiser as he goes. I'm hopeful that we'll see Stephen Strange continue to grow. But he could be a very powerful casualty for sure.
yep.
And maybe we'll get a variant of some of him. I don't know.
I'll one
I don't
up
know.
it on one final note.
Mhm.
If you are correct and Strange lives, if Strange lives, then Wong dies. They're both not making it out alive.
Yeah. And
One is dying.
I would, if I'm in Vegas, I'm putting money on Wong dying, but that could also
Not a
be,
sin.
I know, but
I
that could
can't
also
accept
be
that.
too much like Phil Coulson dying for the Avengers to team up again. Maybe, because he's like the linchpin like Coulson was. And I don't think Marvel's one to repeat similar beats, but maybe they will. I don't know.
We will find out.
All right, our final 2 awards, the big ones. I'm going to start with our best show. So after having a variety of shows this year, we have a tie between show and special presentation. We've got Moon Knight as the show, which was the first one of the year. And we also have the last thing of the year, which was the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, a tie by the fans. Those are the 2 that won. I have a feeling they're not something that you voted for, JG.
I think it's quite interesting to see that these are 2 very opposite spectrum, not only calendar wise, but also tone wise. I'm very appreciative that Moon Knight is still getting the love that it deserves. Moon Knight, when it shakes out and when it's done, is probably looking real quick. Yeah, it's probably my least favorite show of the year. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I liked it, but it's my least favorite. It has its merit in what it is doing. It is also a very slow show. It is very methodical in what it's doing. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, it is just that nice dish of ice cream, short, sweet. It was wonderful, delightful. Had fun with it. Had some nice reveals in it. Nothing too crazy to walk away with. I think it is awesome to see that a special is getting recognized though. As that is something that was new this year. Seeing that we got 2, also Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night was very close to taking the number 1 spot for me. I
had a feeling that might have been your selection.
Yeah, it was very delicious. It was the horror, everything about it was just incredible. But I think it should not be any surprise that my number 1 show is Miss Marvel. The amount of times that I've rewatched that show is probably unhealthy. The amount of passion and love I have for all the characters, like not even just Miss Marvel herself, like I love all of them, from her parents to her brother, her sister-in-law, Bruno, her friend. There's so many characters to love, and like that's what I'm so excited about when I go to see the Marvels, is that not only am I seeing all these main lead actresses, I'm also going to see Kamala's family, and that gets me super excited. I love the fact that we were able to talk about a historical event that not many of us know about, that not many of us learned about, unless it's like our major. I love that we were also able to give a spotlight on people who don't normally get stories told about them. As she says, who would ever think that a little brown girl like me could be a superhero? We need stories for those brown girls. Like, we need stories for everyone. And I'm just so damn appreciative that we finally are getting it, and that we can ignore all the trolls on the internet, and Marvel can tell the stories that they want to tell. And that's where we are. And I am so appreciative, and I'm so excited because it just opens the door for more possibilities down the road. It opens a possibility for Hulkling and Wiccan down the road. It opens, it is such an important show, and I'm so thankful for the show. Your thoughts?
And you pretty much said everything I was going to say, because I also voted for Miss Marvel. I loved Moon Knight for the, Egyptian mythology. I love that stuff with it. I love She-Hulk for, again, what it brought as, breaking the fourth wall, new characters. What else came out this year, show-wise?
Let me think. We also got... What else did come out this year?
There was more than those 2. Oh.
Wow, it's blinking.
It was in the summer. There was something... I'm embarrassed now to not know. Anyhow, look it up for me while I'm sharing these. But yeah, Miss Marvel definitely... I guess that was the summer one, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, it was Miss Marvel. Yeah, I guess we aren't missing
anything else. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems odd. Just 3 shows.
I feel like we're missing something, but we're not.
I'm looking it up. Let's see.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, Miss Marvel definitely was the one that stood out to me, and you kind of said everything I was going to say about it. I will say, if I did pick one nitpick, even though it won my best show, I did not love the clandestines as villains. I thought that there could have been more to them. I don't know. I just, as a villains, I mean, again, it wasn't designed to be a villain show. It wasn't supposed to focus on them. It was supposed to focus on her. And love seeing the Department of Damage Control again. Like, the finale was still one that stands out to me for the, X-Men moment, but also for the idea, like, you know, it was like Home Alone. They were in the high school, which again was such a, place I can relate to as a high school
Hmm.
teacher. They were, trying to stop a group of, adults who have weapons that can hurt them or kill them. So it's like awesome that they were able to fight back as a group and they all took on the mantle of Maul, right? They were like hiding as her.
Yep.
And then seeing her go like, what's it called? Imbigo or Largo?
Yeah.
What's she say?
I think it's Mbigo or something like that.
Imbigo, like just seeing her like with the stretchy arms, like what I'm used to seeing in like my
So
little
good.
knowledge of her. I was so excited. I fell in love with the character, like I already mentioned. She already won my best new hero, so I have to give the show to her as well. Did we forget any shows?
We
Now
did
that you
not
looked it up?
forget any shows. It feels like we should have, but we didn't. We had Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and then we also had, of course, the two specials. And that
Yeah.
is what we
I think it
got.
was a great year for television, and
Oh
just
yeah,
felt like we missed something.
yeah. A lot of different tones, a lot of great characters, and Miss Marvel just definitely just it really stood out, especially for us. And I'll never forget those episodes when we were talking about it for the first time and just how
Mm.
shocked we were, how much we were enjoying it. Because
Yeah, it's a lot of
like
fun.
like we said, we always go into it open minded, but we kind of had, I would say, healthy low expectations,
Yeah,
knowing thinking that it wasn't going to be for us, but we were very proved wrong, and I will not doubt Kevin Feige again.
we were smiling the whole time, like
Yes,
like you said, don't judge a trailer by its cover, kind of thing. Like
yes,
I think I hope more people go back and watch it that haven't seen it yet.
I agree. Like it is such a treat to the point that it's the only Marvel show that my mom has watched, and she's barely seen any other Marvel movie either. So
Mm.
she's seen I think Black Panther is probably the only other one she's seen actually. All right, so now we're into the award of the night. We do have a best film, and there were quite a few this past year. I know everyone was rooting so hard. The campaigns were intense for Morbius.
It's Morbin
It
time.
it did not happen. Morbius is not the best film, but
Did it get any votes? I don't even think it did.
I don't think it got any votes. No, it
Mm.
did not. All right, but the best film voted by the community is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Steven, what is your thought about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever taking home the biggest prize of the night? Was it your best film, or did you have something else?
I voted with the fans on this one as well. Looks back at the series of films, and while again I was a little bit disappointed in Thor: Love and Thunder, I liked Doctor Strange. I felt like I made the mistake of getting too hyped up for it on my own. That was my own fault. I felt like I went into Black Panther and it kind of like the release date kind of crept up on me. While I mentioned on here before I did not have a good experience in the theater, it still takes the top spot. I mean, 2.5 hour runtime flew by. It was so much fun to be back in that world with Ryan Coogler had set up in the first movie. It was emotional. It was heart, warming with some of the moments. Seeing a lot happen, with characters. Like I think about Okoye, how she changed
Mm,
over the course of the movie. I think about the fact we got to meet Riri Williams and Ironheart. We got to see Ross and Val. Like we got to move the. I mean, it was a great end of the saga. I think that was a great, or yeah, end of the phase. That was a really great decision. It's such an emotional movie. That while Phase 4 you can make the argument again, it's less connected, but we're getting there. You needed something like this to be like a gut punch to say, all right, this is the end, and then in February you'll start the next phase. So it gets my vote for all of those reasons and more. Did it win for you?
yeah, so I definitely can see why people voted for it. I think this was like one of the best movies, one of the best Marvel movies. I think it's beautiful what it does and everything it needs. Doctor Strange is also up there for me, where it is that pure shot of horror and everything you love about horror, especially what you and I love about horror. So it was really hard to pick one between these two films. And I was on also who enjoyed the comedy of Thor: Love and Thunder. I was laughing my butt off the whole movie, um, but it did come down to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Yeah, that film is just it's an epic. It is a war movie. I
Mhm.
love the surprise of Valentina just being in there ever so slightly, like not even really super important to the film. It's more for the future and the setup and more kind of tying things together. I do love that though, and I love that very just slight simple touch to just kind of connect things a little bit more. But the journey that all the characters go on, that opening scene is just it's just, oh my gosh, it's heartbreaking, and you can feel, and we talked about it, like, this movie, these actors weren't acting, like, they were showing us their true, genuine, raw emotion and feelings. It's a movie that goes beyond the film into real life, and it's incredible and amazing that they were even able to do this and to honor him and to continue to carry the torch and move the story forward for the Black Panther franchise and for the MCU as a whole. This film is a great end to this phase, and it's going to pave the way for what's to come. That was a very somber end, and I do think we are going to have a lot more darker moments to come, unfortunately, in the MCU. But this just stands on its own as something truly special and remarkable that I don't think we'll ever see again.
And how have we gone this long throughout this whole episode without giving credit to Angela Bassett, who is the first, Marvel
Yeah.
actor actress to win a Golden Globe, and I think has a very good chance at being nominated and potentially winning for the Academy Awards.
Oh, she's gonna win it
Um,
now. At this point,
she,
she's gonna win it.
oh, and that is huge. So I don't understand how she didn't get recognized on our Marvelcasties tonight by you and I or our fans, but she definitely needs a shout out because that's going to
Yes.
be huge. She deserves it. It was well deserved. I think
Yes.
back to, from the moment the trailer came out, like you and I were saying, she's going to be up for awards. Like the way she shouts about being like losing her children, like it just gives me goosebumps just now thinking
Yeah.
about it right now too. Like, oh, I cannot wait to watch that movie again. Turn off the lights, just blast the sound, like comfort of my home. Yes, absolutely. Well deserved win for the movie, the entire cast. They had the fact that they had a script ready, and
Yeah.
again, Chadwick did not want people to worry about him. He was again someone that was very private. He kept his sickness to himself, and then had to start from scratch. And this movie was like almost like a Frankenstein, but it turned out so well the way that they had to take concepts that were in the original script plus the new plot plus setting up what's coming. Like it had so much to do and it could have easily failed, and it was successful. It was powerful.
Yeah.
It was emotional. It deserves the best picture for us. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really does, and I will never forget, like, so many podcast episodes where we were talking about a breaking news about a setback for this film. Like, this film had probably more setbacks than any other Marvel film that we've seen in recent years. Like, this had so many setbacks.
I mean, this is at a weird spot for us too because our very first episode, we started around the time of the What If that we started.
Yeah.
And on the very first episode, you and I were talking, I think, about the casting of, or that Riri Williams was going to be in
Yeah.
this movie. I remember that was one of our first episodes, if not the
Yeah.
first one. So like, we're now at the point where everything else coming out was moving further into production once we started our show. So like, we're at the point where Black Panther was what was in production when we started the show, and that's kind of crazy that we're past that now.
It is a new era and a new future
Mhm.
and many more stories to come. So just a quick rundown. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever tie taking home 4 awards, which makes a lot of sense. 2 incredible films in their own way. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law took home 2 awards, and Moon Knight and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special with each 1 award, respectfully. So Doctor Strange and Black Panther, 2 big takeaways. A personal takeaway I'd take from this, 2 things I have to say about this, Steven, as we wrap things up tonight. One, it's really exciting to me to see that it was basically down to the 2 films, but it was exciting this year that, as amazing as Spider-Man No Way Home was last year, it's refreshing to see the awards get split up a little bit more. So it's exciting to see as a film early in the year and a film later in the year both get the love and attention they deserve. And I think another big story is that while there was definitely a lot of story and a lot of conversation about this film it is interesting to note that Thor: Love and Thunder did not take home any awards. So, any other final thoughts?
We knew Morbius wouldn't, but
No.
I expected Thor: Love and Thunder to take something. But that I
Yeah.
think goes to show, like, just as we're hearing like, Chris Hemsworth, I think wants to have a different take on Thor if he returns.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like Taika might not have a future with that because
Probably not.
he did so well with Ragnarok. Just Love and Thunder was not as well received, and that's a shame because I think I went into that movie really hoping for it to be as great as Ragnarok, and I didn't have that same experience. And again, some people love it absolutely and give it credit there, but I am curious too, looking ahead for next year's awards. I think it would it's hard to tell. I feel like one of the MCU live action is going to win, but there is a chance that Across the Spider-Verse is so good that it could win some votes next year too.
Yeah.
This could be the first time Sony, gets some recognition too in our award show. The only thing going against it, it's probably gonna end on a cliffhanger. It's gonna be in the not a full story, so maybe it won't. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
What do you mean? Craven's gonna run away with it. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Trying to think, Glenn. I mean, I'm hoping we get a few other surprises. Like there are rumors about some other special presentations. Like if we look at our ballot for predicting for 2023, not everything looked the same. It's like our ballot for 2023 is going to be a little bit different when we get to the end of the year. So I'm curious, but I'm excited. I mean, we got a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
And I'm hoping we can again do another reward show, whether it's late December or early January. Let's do it again.
My way too early bold prediction is that Secret Invasion is going to be the big winner next year.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping Loki doesn't disappoint us after how much hype and we've kind of built it up in our heads because it's been now a year and a half since we had Loki, that maybe it could be a little disappointing. For Secret Invasion, if they play their cards right, if they do cameos, not just for the sake of doing cameos, but use this to really build up the middle phase of your saga and show where some of these characters are, I think we should see Captain America again. I think we should see you could easily cameo She-Hulk. You could easily cameo some of the other characters, setting up other stuff. I think if they do that well, it's going to get a lot of fans talking, and especially if they keep these cameos hush-hush until they premiere, you know what I mean? I think even though you and I are most excited for Ant-Man 3, I do think Guardians is going to be huge because it's going to be the emotional send-off for a couple characters.
Yeah.
I think the Marvels is going to be a blast. We still haven't seen anything from it, so it's too early to even say how excited we are for that yet. And then, yeah, I'm hoping we get a couple other special presentations, or I hope X-Men 97 sees the light of day. But again, I think we're going to only have 3 shows again this year. I'm thinking we're going to have Secret Invasion, Loki, and Ironheart. I think if we're lucky, we might get something animated this year, maybe to go with it, but I'm not holding my breath either.
I think we'll probably get the second season of What If. I think that should be rolling out this year, hopefully.
I'm hopeful, but I've heard more rumors of 2024 now.
Yeah.
It's just hard to believe. I know animation takes a while, but
we just need to get our own insider so we can hear our own inside source and scoop. And
I'd even be fine. If they have let's say it's a 10-episode season. If they've got 5 episodes done, almost say do 5 episodes in the summer and then do 5 early next year. I don't know.
I'll take that too.
Because going 2 years between properties is hard.
It could be very hard, especially when you're trying to tell a consistent story, and
it's just.
But
I guess that was a fun award show. So thank you, JG, for all the work you put into it as well. I appreciate it.
Definitely, and we have exciting ideas for next year, some new categories, things that we are looking to do to expand and make this a more fun experience, and just to continue to honor and celebrate all of the creatives and the franchise that we do love so much. Steven, just any final goodbyes, any thoughts or anything as we wrap this up tonight?
I had a lot of fun. And this is a week, I know you and I are both talking off camera, where we both been kind of busy and a little stressed. And even before we logged on tonight, I was I want to do this, I want to be hyped for it. And as soon as we started rolling, I got right back into it. I really had a great time tonight. Even though I was tired beforehand, I feel like I've got a new burst of energy for tonight now. So thank you once again, JG. It's always great to get back on the mic with you.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, internet, for holding up as we are having some storms in our neck of the webs. That does wrap up episode 42 of Marvelcast, our second annual Marvelcasties. We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of Marvel with us. We want you, the fans, to interact with us, the podcast, so we can't wait to hear your feedback and questions by emailing us or commenting on this video. You can email us at marvelcastpod@gmail.com, or you can comment on the video. We'll pull the question up, bring it up in the next episode. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to 1138 production feed on wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, hit a do the 5-star review, whatever the app does. They're all pretty different. For myself and Steven, have a marvelous week, and remember,
I could do this all day.